it's time for weekly makes. So we have a ton of crochet plushies to show you that I made this past week, but for those of you who don't know me, my name is Allie. I am the maker behind Crochet in the Mud, where I do both crochet plushies as well as pottery. And I have a ton of new plushies to show you this week. So majority of this past week I was working on a video where I go through my overstock blanket yarn that's in the closet. So I thought it was going to be a lot more variegated yarns than it was, but it ended up being a crap ton of orange, yellows, and then there were 3 variegated yarns. So most of this is new, some of this is repeats, but we have a big variety. So the first thing I made this week was a repeat, but I had a skein of bubbly blue yarn, so I wanted to use it all up by making axolotls. Now the one skein gave me 9.5, I believe. So I finished up 10 axolotls this week, and these I'm going to sell for $21 each. They're nothing special, I've made them before. This is the Crochet Giraffe pattern, and as typical, all of my patterns will be linked in the description if you're interested in any of them down below. But I am going to take half of these to store A, and then the other 5 will be for our markets. So thankfully I have a little bit of axolotls now in my market inventory. I definitely need to make a bunch. So that's on a future agenda. But we have about a month and a half until markets. So I'll get that done at some point. Then my next skein I tackled was a buttercup skein, which is like a pale yellow banana-y color. So obviously, well, I guess I also bought this for this purpose. I made giraffes. So this here is a new pattern I bought, which I think is just adorable. But my problem is giraffes is I can't get the color combos right. So if you make giraffes with blanket yarn, especially basic chenille, because that's what I'm going to be using majority of in the future, let me know what colors you use, because I think once I get caramel, I've never been able to get caramel before because it's been sold out every time that I've purchased yarn. It's currently in stock, but I'm trying not to buy yarn because we're about to move. So I think caramel will be a beautiful color for the spots, and it might also be nice too to do the the hooves and the top of the ossicone in chocolate, and then the spots in caramel, I think. I don't hate the baby sand as the muzzle, but I also don't know if this belly patch is necessary, and I think the belly patch I did a little bit too dark. But this pattern is adorable. But can I just say, color changes normally don't bother me, but this one had about 5 color changes every single round, so it got a little exhausting. But this is a very sew heavy pattern, so you sew on both ossicones, both ears, both or all 4 legs. The tail is surface crocheted, and then the body to the head is also sewn. So a ton of sewing. But I think this is just adorable, and I do need to make another one for my pricing calculator, but I think I might make it with my brights yellow, the Brene Blanket brights. I should be more specific. So it'll be a darker yellow instead of the pale yellow. But super cute. And I also bought this pattern with the tiger, the raccoon, and the skunk. So you'll see the tiger later today in this video, and I need to do that raccoon and skunk at some point. But I love this guy. And then once I finished that giraffe, I didn't hate the color combo, so I did it again in the Gentle Giraffe by Crochet by Jenna. And I did mention in my review video that these ossicones, I don't like being baubles because it is part of the giraffe's skull. So I made another one, but I wanted to make one first so that I could kind of compare my size to be able to crochet ossicones beforehand to then crochet them in. So this is with the ossicones crocheted in, and I like this much better. So every Gentle Giraffe going forward will have the ossicones like this instead of baubles. But I used chocolate on this one, and again, I don't love the color combo. So I'm really hoping caramel is what fixes it for me, but I have 2 more gentle giraffes. So these I sell for $48. And the previous few times I've had them, I'm pretty sure they sold relatively quickly. So which color combo do you like better? This one is, I think it's rust. This one is chocolate. Which color combo is better? And then also, do you like the ossicones better rather than baubles? I much prefer this one, but let me know what you think. The next skein I tackled was one of my variegateds, and I made a squid. So I've been making a lot of the baby squids lately, so it was very fun to be able to make one of the big squids. So these eyes I bought off of another creator that lives here in Colorado. I got them at a market, and I feel like they fit perfectly. They were purple. I just wish I had put the eyes a little bit further apart, but it's adorable as is. This color I believe is called Sunset, but I still have about half a skein left. So I need to decide if I'm gonna make another big squid, if I make some little squids, if I make some pocket pals. I don't know. Sorry, I lied. These eyes are pink. Yeah, not purple, they're pink. I was remembering wrong. But I love this pattern, and usually these do really well at any market, but maybe you can say I'm crazy, but I feel like it reminds me of the lesbian flag, so I try to use up a bunch of yarns that remind me of the flags for my Pride market, but this will probably sell before we hit June, unless I hold it off for that market, which sometimes I'll do, but super cute. I sell this one for $48 as well, and usually my big squids have no issue selling at that price either, just like the gentle giraffes. So some plushies, people don't mind the price and they don't sit around in my booth for months, whereas this might be like 3 markets, then it goes, something like that. So there's that one. And then I apologize in advance. You are about to see a ton of orange yarn. So that's still not even half of the orange yarn I have. So I tackled tigers and foxes. I guess I should say I did one tiger. So here's my tiger. This is that same pattern or designer as the giraffe. Now, I guess I should have mentioned the patterns do come with, I think the tiger had a safari hat, the giraffe had like a bag, and they had clothes and stuff and accessories to go on. But I just wanted to make the base animals, and this is adorable. This one did have the multiple color changes per round. There are stripes on the back, but this was stripes as opposed to spots, so it was like one round you would change for this stripe. So it wasn't as bad. It was maybe make 2 stripes per round, so what's that, 4 times your color changing. So this one wasn't as bad for color changes, but definitely involved a lot as well. And I went through my black and white with all of the makes I'm about to show you. So while I was trying to deplete orange, I also depleted black and white. This always seems to happen. I try to deplete one color and instead deplete a different color. So we have now decided we are moving this coming Friday as of me filming, and once that happens, I have permission to order yarn. So I'll probably be placing that order probably the day we move in, once we have the address so I can know where to ship it, because I also need to ship stuffing to the new place because I'm running low. And originally we were going to have 2 more weeks of me trying to work at home. It's now 1, so I'm going to try to make the tiny bit I have last. We'll see if I can do that. But I have not yet priced this tiger. I still need to make a second one, and I just think this is adorable. And I had other fox pattern, or tiger, this is a tiger. I had other tiger patterns I wanted to get to, but I didn't have a chance. So, I mean, I still have 4.5 skeins of the Brene Blanket Brights in the orange colors. So you'll be seeing more orange at some point, especially more tigers. because I have a miniature tiger pattern I want to make. So here's this cutie, and I think it'll definitely sell pretty quickly. Then from there, I moved on to foxes. So I believe I mentioned in last week's video, if it wasn't last week, it was the week before, when I made the frog hoodie bear, but I wanted to make a chicken hoodie fox. And again, this idea I got from What's Up Cupcake, but I feel like I messed it up at the end. So it is adorable as is. I decided not to add eyes to the hood because with the surface crochet of the rest of it, you can kind of sort of see it, but not really, unless like I'm really pushing it out. But with embroidering eyes or using safety eyes, it definitely was gonna show. And I think it's fine to not have eyes on the chicken hoodie. But the eyes are too small in this. I used 16mm eyes. This one's in blanket yarn. 16mm was the perfect size on the parfait chunky one, but the next size up I have are 20s, which doesn't seem like that big of a difference, but I thought when I was making it they were too big. So I decided to go with the 16s, and now he has little tiny beady eyes. And then I think I need to do a different nose. That is the same nose the bear had, which was adorable, but I hate it. So the face I hate. Let me know in the comments if I'm crazy. Is it cute as is, or do I really need to mess with the face? I mean, I can't really do anything about the eyes, but I can change the nose up. Maybe it needs to be a different color. Maybe it needs to be more triangle-like. I don't know. But I also realized after I placed the eyes that I used the instructions in the pattern, but then when comparing it to the picture she has, these eyes are one row too high. So that also might be throwing it off a little bit. But it's got this giant tail in the back. I used the floppy leg mod. I did have a little bit of a challenge jumping back and forth between the fox mod and then jumping to the hoodie, and it was a little difficult to figure out, but I did it. And I definitely made notes along the way, so in the future if I make it again, I will know what to do. But of course I did not time myself, or I guess the fox was new this time. But I still don't have a price for the hoodie bear or the hoodie fox. So I think they're adorable. And like I said, for the hoodie bear, I really hope these sell well because I like making them. It is completely no sew, which is crazy. So you make all the parts first, crochet them in, and then the ears are surface crocheted. So I mentioned during the hoodie bear that I think I can transform this into a cat wearing a hoodie for my cat festival, and then obviously I'll have to make up a different tail, but that'll be pretty simple. So I think these ears can come off as cat, and like picture this as not being a fox. Picture this as an orange cat. Does it pass? Or should I instead, or in addition, I could also try to make the hood be a cat. I don't know. Let me know your opinions. Then from there, I decided I wanted to make another splooting fox. So the last one I made was in Parfait Chunky. So this is actually my first splooter made in blanket yarn. And I think it's even cuter. But these are the eyes I chose for it. They do at an angle go purple. I don't know if it'll be able to go. But I made these eyes myself. And this guy is just adorable. Here's the giant tail in the back. So here's the sitting position. Here's the splooting position. He's just so cute. So I once again do need to make another, oh wait, just kidding. I timed this one. I just haven't actually gone in to do the math and enter it into my spreadsheet to get my price yet. So I think I timed myself and weighed out my materials. So this guy should have a price. If it's not on the screen, it's because I got busy moving and was just trying to get this video edited really quickly. So I love this. I am very happy with all of these splooters I've been making so far. So cute. I can't believe I did not buy the cat splooter when I was buying all of these. So I'll probably be buying another splooter. But I also still have a ton more splooters I haven't made. So I think here sometime in the future I need to do a making my pattern stash. I did make a list and there's probably like 20 patterns on there. It is a mix of new stuff I've recently bought, where like I told you about the giraffe and tiger, and then I also bought a raccoon skunk. The raccoon skunk was a bundle, but that shop was doing if you buy 3 or more you get a discount, so I bought a third one. And then I bought a bunch of splooters all at once that I've made a couple of. But then going back to my pattern stash, there were some that I bought years ago and never made, or where I bought a pattern pack and only made half of them. So I'll probably be doing a pattern stash buster at some point, but I also need to kind of start focusing on making these smaller plushies for markets, because like I mentioned, it's about a month and a half away. And I've been making a lot of medium and large plushies, which is great and all, but small and minis are what sell quickly because you can put them at a lower price. So I love this. Also, thankfully, majority of these orange skeins I have are soft. So a lot of times the orange, I haven't touched these two yet. Thank goodness. A lot of times the orange was pretty stiff. So thankfully all of the gazillion skeins of orange I have are soft. And then I was able to do one more fox pattern for the week. There is another one I'd like to do, which is even smaller, from Poggy's Place. I've never made Poggy's Place patterns, but I think it would be interesting. So I made this little guy. So this one is marketed as low sew, where they had you sew on the tail, but I was able to edit the pattern so that I could sew the tail in, crochet the tail in. I believe the only reason they didn't do that, because they even have you single crochet the tail together, but I believe the only reason they didn't have you do that is because technically the row that it is attached to is 2 single crochet decrease, and it was 3 along there, but I just moved the decreases around. So I made 5 of these, and thankfully this one used majority orange and not so much black and white. So this used up more orange than it did the black and whites. But here are those 5. I have a feeling this pattern I'll be doing a lot. I again don't have a price for these yet. I weighed out my materials and timed the tail, but I never timed the body. I have very much been enjoying making all of these new patterns, and it's been kind of dangerous because I've just been, oh, buy a pattern, I don't care, don't worry about the budget. So I have 2 more patterns to show you that I made this week. We are going to jump away from the challenge because I did do one day of, well, I was supposed to devote the entire day to restocking store A, but all I ended up doing was making 5 possums. So all of them will be going to store A, and then I believe that only took the morning, and in the afternoon I went back to closet makes because I couldn't decide what to make. So the possums I sell for $18 now, and they are always a big hitter. And then the very last make was going back to closet makes. So I was doing this slowly, kind of sort of while I was editing, but I started restocking my pocket octos. So this is in color Strawberry Dot, and I made 6 of them. I sell these for $12 each. I'm debating raising my pocket pals to $13, but I haven't decided yet. But this color surprisingly was a top contender for, what place did it actually get? So if you go back, you can watch my 2025 recapped where I ranked everything by like bestseller. Yeah, this was actually my best-selling color of pocket octo, which I was not expecting. I was thinking maybe like 3rd or 4th, but I got number 1. So I made 6 of those. That's all I had time to do. I have an entire bag set aside of my pocket pal colors that I will just be slowly working through. So then if we look at stats for the entire week, that brought me to a total of 26 plushies, which doesn't feel like a lot. I feel like I wasn't very focused this week, where I would, like, this guy. This is probably a 20 to 30 minute make for me, but I would keep looking up and realizing an hour had passed because I was just going that slow and watching my TV instead of working. So I doubt this is an hour make, but again, I haven't timed it yet. So yeah, my week just consisted a lot of taking a lot longer than it should have for those, but that's okay from time to time. And I'm very happy with everything I got accomplished this past week. So this coming week, we are prepping for the move on Friday. So I have a ton of whips that I need to finish up. So next week's video I think will just be Monday to Friday's makes, because Friday we get the keys, and then the following will be if anything gets done on that Saturday, which I don't think, but Sunday I do plan to crochet during the Super Bowl, so then it'll be like a little over a week. I think that's the plan. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what your favorite make was, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!